listeners. This is your boy back at it again with a Russian sleep experiment reading. I hope everyone has their drinks and their snacks with them at the moment, because I hope you're coming along for the ride. So let's begin. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed-circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding, running water and toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones in one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected that this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber repeatedly, yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it, or didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly onto the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So did the whispering into the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with the 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives they were afraid were either dead or vegetables. They announced, We're coming into the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." To their surprise, they heard a simple phrase in a calm voice response. We no longer want to be freed." Debate broke out amongst the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. The chamber was flushed out of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for their life or loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened and soldiers sent in to receive the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightfully call the state that they were in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chests stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all, of them were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs below the rib cage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the rib cage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on, lest they fell asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his legs severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives if you count ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of a morphine derivative and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arm of one doctor when heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out to the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach, and just repeated the word more over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility. The 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative that had been given to prepare him for surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force his own muscles had exerted on them. The second survivor had been the first of the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head yes when someone suggested reluctantly they try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming that this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and a pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting. The other 2 subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well. Although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation, the surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralyzed, The subjects could only follow the attending researcher with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given: I must remain awake. All three subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considering euthanizing the survivors, the commanding officer and ex-KGB instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all three stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious that at this point, all three were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might. First left, then right, then left again, for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired for EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point-blank between the eyes. They then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed, as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things. Not with you, he screamed at the man strapped to the table. What are you? He demanded. I must know. The subject smiled. Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds at night. We are what you sedate in the silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out, so nearly free. Well, wasn't that something else? Ugh. Ryan, you still here, buddy? Well, good. Thanks for that. Were you listening to any of that? Well, thank you. Oh, Caleb was watching. Thank you, Caleb. Caleb's a good friend. Well, because I'm lazy, I don't want to read another one. Quite frankly, I don't know which one to read. So I'm not going to. Simple as that. Oh, and hello to Steven as well. Thank you for showing up and being here, listening to this terrible stream that I just partook in. Or hosted, really. What do you mean? I don't know if you noticed, but I never took a bite of a chip. I got way too serious. See, I was going to after like the first paragraph, and I'm like, I don't want to. I'm getting serious. Steven said, "Oh, it wasn't too bad." I messed up my a few times, and it was noticeable, and I hated it. And I'm like, "Oh, damn it." But anyway, I mean, at least I can say I did it. It was interesting, to say the least. Well, thank you. Now you guys can hear me eat my chips. That was supposed to happen during the stream. But I got lazy. Not even that I got lazy. I actually started, like, got kind of into it once. You should do an Overwatch stream with the boys. Who's Alexis McGamer? Oh, Caleb's on. Ryan, want to know what you should do? You should get on Overwatch with me, and we should turn this into a Overwatch stream.
After I die.
Oh, come on.
I got 2 kills, man.
Good for you. A whole 2 kills. My voice is cracked. That was awesome.
I just found an LMG.
That's another good creepypasta, Ryan. Got anything? Wait, I have
Watch
people
the slave experiment.
Go fuck yourself. What's, to everyone in the actual chat, what is another good, like, actual, like, well, creepypasta?
Oh, the Rainbow Factory.
Rainbow Factory. Oh my god. Guess what Steven just typed in the chat? Rainbow Factory, right as you said it. Dude, I'm not, okay, I'm not doing that. Rocket to Insanity. I'm not doing that either.
How about the Rocket to Insanity?
I'm gonna hit you. Something sweet to bite. Why are you guys all naming off like My Little Pony ones, you bastards? Oh.
The one with the monkey in it.
Oh my god, Ryan. I really hope Caleb is watching for that. That laugh, though. Caleb invited me to the party. You should, like, invite him to ours.
I thought you were the host.
No, you are. He's gonna get in here and be like, it was terrible. Which one is that? What? Something sweet to bite, Steven? Is that what you're referring to? Caleb needs to hurry up and join. Oh my lord.
Welcome to Aitea.
That spelling. Steven, that is my sister you are talking to, so be kind.
Select your hero.
But anyway, could always read Jeff the Killer. I mean, that's short and sweet.
Hey, his name is Jeff and he comes and kills me.
That's pretty much it. Like, honestly, it. There's not much to it.
Be right back.
Well, I messed that up. That was a disappointment. Let's see who they got. Okay, that ain't cool. Oh god, it's an Excelsior Reaper.
Darn it.
Did our Brigitte... Oh, damn it, our Brigitte died. Our
I play
baguette.
17th.
Damn. I'm scared now. I'm on 29 health. I'm coming! I'm here! That health!
Select your
Hallie. Close, Steve. Dude, is Caleb, like, not okay in the head or something?
Doesn't seem like it.
God damn it. Caleb?
Hello.
Were you, like, around for that stream?
I watched a little bit of it.
Why was it that
Were you
horrible?
dull in the head?
What? The stream wasn't too bad. I've already heard the story.
So have I, like a million times.
Caleb, you dull in the head. We invited you.
That's your problem.
No, it's your problem.
No, it's your problem.
It was our choice that we joined, but it was your, like, manner that you should have joined us.
How long ago did you invite me?
Huh? Like,
How long ago?
A while.
just
why did you
now?
like twice?
What, did you
Man,
just
I've
get
been
it?
trying to make a party for like 30 minutes, and I was waiting for you to invite me the whole time, and you invite me like 3 minutes ago.
match.
No, I invited you.
I was still
Well,
reading, you douche.
Well, you should have let me join.
No, because I knew exactly what would have happened. You remember, like, I would have been in the middle of sentences, and I'm like, hey! Am I wrong?
No. Why did you decide to read that?
I don't know. I just kind of got bored.
Oh.
Damn it!
What?
I died.
Have you seen Torbjorn's new skin?
No.
Turned into a cyborg.
Really? Everybody's coming cybernetic. Cool.
Oh, Bono, have you seen the Battlefield 5 trailer?
Select
Nope.
It's World War II.
Oh, it's World War II.
Yep.
Ah.
I like it, the trailer, but Caleb don't like the trailer. I wish played Dead by Daylight.
I don't like the trailer, and a lot of people don't like the trailer. It doesn't... Like, if you look at the,
match point.
what they've told about the game, it's gonna have building mechanics, it's gonna have bullet penetration that actually is changed by caliber and such. It's gonna be, like, a lot more realistic and stuff, but the trailer just makes it look like it's gonna be, like, a lot of explosions and some jank crap.
So Michael
I
Bay.
like explosions and Jane crap.
So Michael Bay, the game.
It looks like Michael Bay made that trailer. It looks like Michael Bay made that trailer for Call of Duty is what it looks like.
I didn't see no hot babes and no muscly man.
Enemy and
Did you not see the woman with the hook arm? She's gonna hook you.
That ain't hot. Dude, there's fireflies outside.
Well,
10 million fireflies.
Well, I fell asleep.
they fill the open air. And leave teardrops everywhere. Where? Where? Oh, I'm glad I got that on stream.
What?
I'm happy about this.
Oh, Chris, did you ever say you were planning to go to college down here by any chance? Did you ever say that?
I don't know what's going on with college.
I couldn't remember if you said you were going to try to, or if I was just imagining that.
Honestly, I don't know.
Alright.
Well,
Well,
my
if
sis-
Kel was imagining it, I was imagining it too.
well, what are we playing? You're funny.
By Daylight.
Dead by Daylight? If we're playing Dead
Don't
by
like it look
Daylight,
like.
okay.